Good afternoon, everyone, and thank you for spending your hour with us today for our Wednesday webinar series. My name is Alice Fox, and I am the Director of Talent Delivery at Talent Connections. I am joined by John Palumbo, our Director of Marketing for Talent Connections. Today, we are so excited to have the value of your why with Dr. Bill Dickinson. Some housekeeping items. First of all, this is a 1-hour webinar. We will stop at 1 o'clock. For technical questions, please email Jonathan Palumbo at the email you see on the screen. Participants are muted. Use the question feature to submit questions. Please be aware that we do have interactive questions or throughout the presentation, there'll be some interactive things for you to do. And so to make sure, it's always great to have as many participants as possible. We will also have a question and answer time at the end of the presentation. This webinar is approved for 1 SHRM Professional Development credit, and that activity code will be given at the conclusion of the webinar. Today, I'm pleased to introduce our speaker, Dr. Bill Dickinson, author, founder of C3 Leadership, and executive coach with TLG. Dr. Bill Dickinson is the founder of C3 Leadership, a business consultancy dedicated to leadership best practices for professional and interpersonal growth. He designs and delivers people leadership capabilities for all levels of leadership. Furthermore, Bill is recognized for his coaching capabilities in providing professional clarity and career advancement. His client list include Walmart Health and Wellness, Tire Hub, Adventist Healthcare, Out Georgia Business Alliance, 10 Squared, Brookhaven Police Department, Mercedes-Benz, Atlanta Tech Village, and AbbVie Pharmaceuticals. Bill lives in Atlanta, Georgia with his partner Caesar, and actually in Madrid, Spain as well. So exciting. So Bill, we're so excited to have you here today. Thank you so much for joining us on our webinar, our Wednesday webinar series.
Thank you, Alice, Jonathan, Tom, and Talent Connections. Colleagues, I really am delighted to be here. The last time I did this with and for Talent Connections and Career Spa was 4 years ago, right in the midst of COVID. So it's nice to be back with colleagues and with partners who are learners, kind of with one another and with me. As I take you through this material, I do so with a great deal of gratitude for what I do and for what you do in your professions. I will do my best to answer questions along the way and at the end. If by chance I don't get to yours and you really want to ask it of me or speak to me, my details are on the back of the ebook that you received, and you'll also see them at the end of the presentation. So don't hesitate to reach out to me at all, at any time, okay? So, and feel free to chat along the way. I'm going to invite you to do that, but I'd like you to take your own initiative to do that. So you're going to have to open the chat box in order to do that, all right? So, my purpose with you, it is threefold. First of all, to validate you and your leadership already, however you practice that with and who you practice that with. I also want to elevate purpose as essential to your self-worth, and I hope the joy that comes with your work. I also want to exhort the what and the why of a value proposition in service to you, both in service to your confidence as well as your credibility as a professional, no matter what industry you're in. That's my purpose with you. Let me share with you my purpose. My purpose as a member of the human family and as a leadership advisor and practitioner is to empower people to know themselves, overcome their particular challenges or obstacles or perhaps dysfunctions, and ultimately accept themselves as vital and valued. That is my purpose as a member of the human family and a leadership practitioner. Colleagues, it's part of my core value set. It's what helps me get up in the morning. It enables me to be of service to the larger good. Now, one of the reasons why this is my purpose is because after 60 plus years, what I have appreciated in my work with leaders, whether they're mid-level leaders or they're senior leaders, is that generally speaking, we lack self-care, understanding, and worth. We are not highly in touch with it. There's research that would support it. So this webinar is in part to say, boy, take a look at who you are, what you do, why you do it, and be proud of it. So let me give you some data points that kind of validate my statement overall. All right. I'm going to use 3 of them. So the American Bar Association in a 2022 study said worldwide, it is estimated that approximately 85% of the population suffers from low self-esteem. Hewlett-Packard, employees yearn for purpose, empowerment, genuine connection with their work, but just 29% of knowledge workers currently experience this consistently. And I think what's key there is consistently, colleagues. Lastly, NerdWallet, great organization, found that 78% of business leaders have experienced imposter syndrome at some point in their careers. And unfortunately, that is likely true more so for women than it is for men. So my experience with leaders is they are not highly confident in themselves. And I want them to become more confident in who they are, what they do, and why they do it. And that's where I'm going to take you here. We have a responsibility to ourselves and have empathy for ourselves. Responsibility, empathy, and accountability go together. Typically, when we think of accountability, we look at it through the perspective of how others are accountable to us. I want to suggest we look into the mirror and see, first of all, we're accountable to ourselves, who we are, why we are, and how we act. We have to know, we have to be in touch. It does demand a level of self-awareness that empowers us, quite frankly. Okay, just want to call that out for you. I'm going to share with you 3 definitions of a value proposition as it applies to you professionally. This is the first. The other 2 are going to come a little bit later on. So what I would like you to do, colleagues, is no matter what you do and what organization you work for, I'm going to invite you to really understand what your unique capabilities are, your unique contributions and experiences. that requires knowing what makes you stand out, what differentiates you from others. And I'm going to humbly suggest that's true if three of you are on the same team doing essentially the same work. All three of you are going to have distinct and differentiated contributions and capabilities. My concern right now is for you to be aware of yours. We want to know what differentiates us. It's really important to confidence, to competence, to credibility. So here's what I'd like to do. This is my value proposition. Now, my value proposition is written for my audience. My audience are going to be HR professionals. They're going to be learning and development professionals. They're going to be organizational development professionals and others. So my value proposition is written with them in mind. Take a look at it. And would you mind commenting on what you believe my differentiators are? However you understand those, put them in the chat box. We'll put them in the Q&A box.
Yeah, I was going to say, Bill, our chat box is disabled, so it will be in the Q&A. So if everyone could please put their what they think in the Q&A box, please.
Thank you for that, Alice.
No worries.
So given that description of how I understand what I do and why I do it, what do you think those differentiators are?
So I'll help you out by reading. So people are saying unique capability to design and deliver. You enable others to grow, experience coaching and developing others. You unlock the potential in leaders and others within the organization.
Okay. Thank you, Deborah and Maureen and a few others. You're on track. Okay. Now, it's my value proposition. So it's in part gives me an opportunity to understand myself and leverage myself. I think what really is the differentiator for me here is that I both design and deliver leadership content. So typically it's one or the other, but I happen to design it and to deliver it. I do it specifically around people, leader, content, and how I might be able to advance careers. So when people engage me, they're engaging me because I facilitate leaders working with people more effectively and with emotional intelligence. And I'm known in the coaching arena as helping to advance careers. So you're tracking with me, but those are what I believe are my differentiators. Now, I'm going to still continue to build on this. Okay, so hang with me here. All right, you're going to get a chance. There is a ton of research that suggests we need to know precisely what our capabilities are, our qualities, those differentiated experiences that set us apart from others, because it enables self-worth. It empowers confidence. So the Indeed editorial team did some research in the workplace. They've made the statement, you must be aware of how many abilities you have and the qualities you possess. And colleagues, I mean, you have to be able to name them, to list them, to be proud of them. Because when they are portrayed at your workplace, they are said to help colleagues, customers become readily accepting of the kind of person you are. So you help them to better appreciate what it is you bring to the table as a unique expert in your role and in your work. So when we appraise our worth highly amongst our peers, our employers, we are more likely to take on opportunities to grow, which leads to fulfillment, which likely leads to advancement. So it's important you are going to drill down, identify, and leverage all of the good stuff you do, the capabilities you have. Let's take a look at this. Two practices that could be implemented that would more likely facilitate your understanding and value of self. Again, in the Q&A, would you mind taking a stab at that? What are two practices you think would facilitate that? Of course, I'm going to have some thoughts on that. And Alice, once they start populating, I would welcome your sharing them with us.
Yep. Our first one is mindfulness around past successes, reflection, conducting a self-assessment.
Wonderful.
Thank you to everyone for participating. Feedback.
Feedback. So
self-reflection and assessments from your team.
Yeah. So again, colleagues, you're definitely tracking with me here. All right. I'm going to suggest there are two. You've named them. All right. The external is feedback. We've got to know what others think about us, how they understand us, appreciate us. We're not defined by what they think, but we need to be open to the information they have about us. And internally, we need to know our purpose. So externally, we need to seek feedback. Internally, we need to know our purpose. Really important. Let me spend time first and foremost with the purpose that is associated with our own self-awareness. Fortunately, I had the opportunity to write a book. I've wanted to do it for a number of years. I finally sat down and did it. It is called Optimizing Self. It is about self-awareness, self-leadership, your brand, your value proposition. I'm defining self-awareness this way, colleagues. I'm going to have you take a look at that on your own for a minute. So friends, here's one of my operating premises. Your associates, your peers, your direct reports, your leaders have already sized you up. They've already assessed who you are and what you bring to the table. Do you know what they're thinking? Do you know how they understand your capabilities, your qualities, your differentiators? If you don't, I'm going to respectfully suggest you want to know. Now, you've got to have this conversation with people you trust, people who you have some respect for. You're not going to be defined by it, but it is going to inform you. It's going to help you appreciate what it is you do and how you are perceived professionally. So it's that external feedback loop that's really important. Okay. I talk about this in my book, and I give you some practices that help you to do that. But I'm going to move on from there. What I want you to do, though, is come in touch with your purpose. So as I share this with you, it's not that I don't, some of you may have a very strong sense of purpose. Good for you. Good. My experience is most of us don't. And so let's seize an opportunity to better understand it, flesh it out. You're going to hear from Dino Ambrosi. He is the director, the founder of a project called Project Reboot. His mission is actually to work with teenagers and young people to help them appreciate how they approach life and their ability to make a contribution. Take a look and a listen, both for you and your growing, emerging sense of purpose.
The dots on this screen represent an adult life in months, assuming a life expectancy of 90. So if you're 18 years old right now, this is an optimistic estimate of the months that you have left. Take a second to take that in. Probably not as many as you would expect. And I'm sorry to say that it does get worse, because about a third of that time is going to be spent sleeping. On average, 126 of those months will go to school and your career. About 18 will be spent driving, 36 cooking and eating, 36 doing chores and errands, and about 27 in the bathroom and taking care of personal hygiene. So that leaves you with 334 months, optimistically, for everything else. So this is where you tick the boxes on your bucket list. This is where you pursue your passions and travel the world and leave your mark. How you spend this time is going to determine the quality of your life. The average 18-year-old in the United States is on pace to spend 93% of their remaining free time looking at a screen. So wrap your head around how sad that is. Unfortunately, the consequences of screen time are not limited to our mental health and our cognition, because every social media platform carries a message that affects what we believe. They influence the way we see ourselves and the way we see the world purely based on how they are designed. So social media is free because you pay for it with your time. Don't let yourself get to the age of 90 only to look back on your life and realize that while you were trying to avoid FOMO, you actually missed out on living. That free time is your most valuable resource. Do not give it away for free.
A sobering perspective. Would you please, colleagues, what is your essential takeaway? Could you jot a few notes in the Q&A, please? What is your essential takeaway from Dino's research?
You can see it says important to be purposeful about the remaining dots. Very powerful and gives a pause to determining how best to serve others. Every second counts and is valuable. I know personally, I have a 19-year-old, and I'm going to definitely give these statistics to him after we get done with this, so he can put the screen down and enjoy life.
It's frightening for the teenagers.
It is frightening. That was very frightening. I was frantically writing that. Someone says, life is short. Make the most of your dots and free time. Powerful indeed. Wow, not as much time as we thought. Scary about the screen time. Time is precious, and you must be mindful of how you spend it.
So thank you, Maureen and Kathleen and Lenore and Amber and a few others. Here's what I'd like you to hold on to as well. This is 90 years, if we live to be 90 years, by the way. So 27 of those 90 years are it's the free time. Now, if you include work and school, it's another 10 and a half years. So we have what, 38 years? We want to make those meaningful. We want to make them purposeful. We want to make sure that as we're living them, we are confident in ourselves, believe in ourselves, trust in ourselves. And I do know, colleagues, I do know many of us, including me, have had some unfortunate life circumstances that can break us down or make it very difficult. I have empathy for that. I'm sorry about that. But whatever you have left here is now an opportunity to kind of redirect and maybe pivot. Okay, maybe. When it comes to your work, what is your larger purpose? Okay, that really is something that we need to hang with, spend some time with. Okay, it's in part why I wrote my book. It's in part why you have the ebook. All right. So again, we're going to come back to it, but that's the larger question. How important is purpose? Okay. Here's research. All right. Now, this is McKinsey research. As you take a look at it, I have found similar research from Korn Ferry. I have found similar research from the Center for Creative Leadership. I have found similar research from Bain Consulting, Price Waterhouse Cooper. Would you mind real quickly in the Q&A? Has purpose taken on a larger priority for you since COVID? Yes, no, offer a comment, please.
We did have a comment previously that said time is our only valuable asset that we can't get back once it's passed, which is very true.
Yep. Thanks for resurfacing that, Alice. No question.
Yeah. Bill, you're going to have everybody quitting today and going to buy their house in Florida or something.
My
We're going to get off and go, Tom, I'm sorry. After Bill said that I need to go and live my best life in Florida. It says, yes, it is.
But what I want you to do is to live your best life in your work.
Yes, exactly. It says, yes, it has challenged me to truly analyze the time I spend working. Most definitely, I grew up that the more hours you work, the more you get ahead, which is not true. Work smarter, not harder. Good point. Not pandemic, but other life events have affected it for me. Yes, since COVID, I enrolled and finished graduate school. Congratulations. Something I
Yeah,
always wanted to do,
go.
but wasn't sure if it was possible. So congratulations for that.
I think it's awesome. I really do, Karen. Yeah. So,
She said thank you.
yeah. So again, colleagues, part of my value set is having a larger commitment to the human family. You're part of the human family. I interface with you indirectly, but I do. So I want you to really appreciate what it is you do and why you do it. Why you do it. Because the why facilitates purpose, it facilitates self-worth, it facilitates confidence. That's really the meta question. Okay. That's the question that we're going to need to hang with. Okay. I'm going to say over the next 30 days, it might be the rest of the quarter. Day to day, today, why do you do what you do? Why do others want to follow you? Why do other people want to work with you? Why do customers want to buy your product? Why do they want to be led by you? This is Michael Jr. He has a web series called Michael Jr.'s Break Time. It's on YouTube. He does a very nice job practicing his craft, but it's going to be clear that he has a reason why, as he invites another gentleman to express his why. Use it as an incentive for you to look at yours as well. This is Michael Jr.
How do I know? A lot of people, when they think of the phrase, how do I know, they always want to put the what behind it. How do I know what I'm supposed to do? The question that you really should ask is, how do I know why I'm here? Because when you know your why, your what becomes more clear and more impactful. If you know, like for instance, people know that I do comedy, but that's what I do. My why is to inspire people to walk in purpose. So I can do comedy, I can write books, I can be in a movie, because all of it is motivated by my why. In fact, I have a new web series out called Michael Jr. Break Time. We probably just did the 6th episode. It's on YouTube. So every single Wednesday at 3 o'clock, we drop a new episode on YouTube of Michael Jr. Break Time. What it is it's me. I travel around the country and I do stand-up comedy, in case you didn't know. And in the middle of my comedy set sometime, I'll stop and just talk to my audience. And we've been filming this, and it's, you know, it's pretty cool. So we're in Winston-Salem. I'm going to show you a clip from Winston-Salem. And I'm just talking to this guy in the audience, and he tells me that he's a musical instructor at a school. So I was like, all right, you're a musical instructor. You know, can you sing? Let me hear you sing a song. So this is what happened at the last episode of Michael Jr.'s Break Time. Check it. So you're a musical director?
Yes,
Cool.
sir.
All right, so let me get a couple bars of like Amazing Grace. Can you do the first part of that? Go ahead.
Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saved a wretch like me.
Wow. That bro could sing. You know what I'm saying? All right. Now, what you give me the version is if your uncle just got out of jail, you got shot in the back when you was a kid, I'm just saying, let me see the hood version real quick, if you know what version I'm talking about, just see if that exists. Let me see what you got. Amazing grace, how sweet the sound that saves a wretch like me. Right now I'm found, was blind, but now I see. Okay, here's what I want you to catch. The first time I asked him to sing, he knew what he was doing. The second time, he knew why he was doing it. When you know your why, your what becomes more impactful because you're walking towards or in your purpose.
We'd welcome a few thoughts if you'd like to share them in the Q&A. What is important? What you do is really important, and we need clarity around what is expected of us in our work, in our responsibilities. We do. But more importantly, why are you choosing to do what you do? So a few thoughts or comments, if you're willing to share them in Q&A.
Aaron says that gave me chills, which I agree with for sure. It definitely, and singing is not my gift, so that's incredible. I always love someone with a great voice for sure. And while we're waiting,
I know it's a bit.
Someone had commented back on your past question. Yes, COVID-19 made me realize the importance of cherishing every moment and prioritizing what truly matters in life, which that's for sure.
Right. So let me cut to the chase here a bit. Okay. This is about a value proposition, your value proposition. So value is a way of measuring how useful you are to other people. And of course, I'm talking particularly professionally here, colleagues, all right? Isn't the business of your work, your role, your responsibilities about its value or usefulness to clients and the company? Right? You bring a value. I want you to know what that value is. So I am mindful of time here, okay? You have an ebook. Some of you might have done some of the work in the ebook, and if you have, congratulations. I am going to take 2 minutes and be quiet or shut up. Would you, on page 5 of the ebook, just intuitively answer the 3 questions there? If you've answered them, would you review them and maybe tweak them? Okay, this is intuitive. This is mind to paper, pen to paper.
Bill, I don't know if you're reading the answers or you would like me to read them or,
Well, are they putting them on the Q&A as well?
yeah, we do have some on the Q&A for sure too.
Okay, yes, I would. I'm sorry, I didn't see that. Thank you,
Yeah, no
Alex.
worries.
Here.
It said, wow, my why within HR is to make people better, to get them to think outside their day-to-day managerial responsibilities and the bigger pictures of the people and how they impact the business.
Bravo.
So that is that one. The other one is, that was amazing. I do what I do for self-fulfillment and to have a positive impact on our patients.
Thanks for doing that, Kathleen.
As an organizational psychologist, my goal is to create healthy workplaces through change management strategies that lead to talent success. This is meaningful to me because it aligns with my top 3 strengths: empathy, adaptability, and restorative. Combined with my passion for organizational development, position me as a valuable asset to any team seeking to drive positive change.
Now, Karen, to me, that sounds like your value proposition. Bravo. I love it. And if that is not, if you don't consider it, I'm going to invite you to consider it and hang with it and maybe tweak it.
And she says, thank you.
So again, colleagues, we have limited time here. My job here is to expose you to some material to get you to think more fully about yourself, okay? A value proposition is a self-aware statement that differentiates you as a professional workplace leader and confirms why anyone would want to do business with you. So this is yet another definition. Hang on to this one. So as you go through the ebook, okay, it's going to be really important that what helps you come in touch with your why is very specifically what it is you do. Okay. So you have responsibilities. Okay. What do you bring to those responsibilities? What skills, what qualities, what experiences? Okay. What's your training, your education, your certification that brings those responsibilities to life, that sets you apart from others? Okay. Though this is on here and you have a document that allows you to name the differentiators, I'm going to skip this for the moment, okay? Here's yet another definition of a value proposition. Again, you might want to take a picture of this. A value proposition is a statement that answers the why someone should do business with you, Lizette, or Karen, or Jonathan. It should convince a colleague or customer why your capabilities and leadership will be of more value to them than similar offerings from another colleague or company. Each of you is choosing to work in an organization right now, profit, not for profit. I'd like to believe you know why that organization or company is great, but do your colleagues know what sets you and your particular skill sets apart within the organization or the company? That's what I'd like you to know. Casey Brown. This is 2.5 minutes. It is a way for me to begin wrapping up here. This is excellent. Whoops. Here we go.
No one will ever pay you what you're worth. No one will ever pay you what you're worth. They'll only ever pay you what they think you're worth. And you control their thinking. Not like this, although that would be cool. That would be really cool. Instead, like this, clearly defining and communicating your value are essential to being paid well for your excellence. Anyone here want to be paid well? Okay, good. Then this talk is for everyone. It's got universal applicability. It's true if you're a business owner, if you're an employee, if you're a job seeker. It's true if you're a man or a woman. Now, I approach this today through the lens of the woman business owner, because in my work, I've observed that women underprice more so than men. The gender wage gap is a well-traveled narrative in this country. According to the Bureau of Labor Statistics, a woman employee earns just 83 cents for every dollar a man earns. What may surprise you is that this trend continues even into the entrepreneurial sphere. A woman business owner earns just 80 cents for every dollar a man earns. In my work, I've often heard women express that they're uncomfortable communicating their value, especially early on in business ownership. They say things like, I don't like to toot my own horn. I'd rather let the work speak for itself. I don't like to sing my own praises. I hear very different narratives in working with male business owners. And I think this difference is costing women 20 cents on the dollar. I'd like to tell you the story of a consulting firm that helps their clients dramatically improve the profitability. That company is my company. After my first year in business, I saw the profit increases that my clients were realizing in working with me. And I realized that I needed to reevaluate my pricing. I was really underpriced relative to the value I was delivering. It's hard for me to admit to you because I'm a pricing consultant. It's what I do. I help companies price for value. But nonetheless, it's what I saw. And so I sat down to evaluate my pricing, evaluate my value. And I did that by asking key value questions. What are my clients' needs and how do I meet them? What is my unique skill set that makes me better qualified to serve my clients? What do I do that no one else does? What problems do I solve for clients? What value do I add?
Casey's onto something. That YouTube video is almost 10 minutes. It's worth listening to, by the way. Casey Brown, she's a pricing consultant. Here's what I'm going to ask you to do, colleagues. With the ebook that you have, by September 23rd, on your own, as you reflect, engage in activities 2 through 4. Now, I just introduced you to activity 1. We took 2 minutes on that. So really it's activities 1 through 4, a little over 10 days from now. Would you spend some time with yourself? Comfortable room, comfortable chair, cup of coffee, perhaps a glass of wine, why not? Answer the questions. As you answer the questions, be grateful for who you are and your innate dignity and beauty. By October 7th, share your thinking, your responses with 2 others. But ask them for input. Ask them for some feedback. They may see something in you that you're not naming about yourself, that is a distinct contribution, skill, or differentiator. So seek their input. What's the alignment like or not like? By October 15th, you have a final version. Now, a value proposition is going to be somewhere between 3 and 5 sentences. clear, concise, compelling. Okay, 3 to 5 sentences. Wordsmith it, hang with it, be mindful about it, tweak it, have it validated. Once you do, here's what you do with them. So suppose you're putting in a statement of work for a project, a new client. Why not put your distinct value proposition on the statement of work? Right at the top, right at the end is one of the benefits. I think it should go on your resume. If you looked at my LinkedIn profile, you'll find it in the About section. Put it on the back of a business card, even if it's digital. Absolutely. Interviews. So I say this time and again when I'm coaching. You need to know your value proposition clearly, passionately, succinctly, and make sure that anybody who's interviewing you for a new job or promotion, they hear it, and they hear it several times. Okay, colleagues, that's what I got for you. I can take some questions. I know we don't have a lot of time. And we'll go from there. Is that good enough, Alice?
Yes, that is perfect for sure. If anybody does have questions, please put them in the question and answer box at the end. We will kind of wrap up. I did have one person did say, I like seeing the light bulb go off with the managers when they understand the why behind why they do what they do, not just managing them, but being a true leader to their people. So that was a comment that I thought was great as well, for sure. So if anybody has questions for Bill, and you can definitely put them in our question and answer box now, and or also you can see on the screen all the places to find him and connect with Bill. So you can definitely reach out to him to answer any additional questions that you have. I'm sure everyone was taking screenshots, and I know as we talked about with our remaining time of the 334 months, or ours are lower because we're not 18 anymore. But also I love the comment, social media is free because we pay for it with our time. I love the call to action. I love when you know your why, your what becomes very clear. So all of those things are great for sure. And we so appreciate your time and giving all of your insight today. That was excellent.
And colleagues, if you would like me to take a look at your strong draft, so you've been through the work, and before you go to post it somewhere, if you'd like me to take a look at it, I'd be happy to, and affirm it, tweak it, maybe give you another way to say it. And I realize we really need to know each other to do that, but I'm just making myself available if you'd like me to take a pass at it with you and for you. Don't hesitate to send it. All right.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Bill, for sure. And thank you so much for everyone for joining us today for our Wednesday webinar series. A little information about who we are. Talent Connections is a human resources executive search and consulting firm located in Atlanta, Georgia. Founded in 1999, we have spent over 2 decades perfecting our craft in HR services while creating thousands of transformative connections. We also, our Career Spa provides career transition and coaching services tailored to each individual, helping you discover your career path and secure an advantage in this evolving market. The activity code, as you can see, Bill will put that up on the screen for us on our next slide.
Okay, yep. There you go.
Is thank you so much. This activity code 24QKXEG has been approved for 1 professional development credit for recertification through SHRM. Please be sure to note this activity ID number on your recertification application form. For more information, you can see the website to follow for that information as well. Remember to mark your calendars, everyone, for our next Wednesday webinar series, which will be Wednesday, October the 9th, same time from 12 to 1 p.m. Eastern time. Bill, you have any other? We have a lot of thank you, Bill. I love the why. Thank you, Bill. Can I send my value proposition statement for review to you on Instagram?
Yes. I'm new to Instagram, but I'll look at it. Really, I was delighted to be with all of you, and I know you work hard, and many of us are underappreciated, but do come in touch with what you bring to the table and let others know about it. Connect with me on any of those sites, and perhaps we'll see you down the road. Okay.
Perfect. Thank you so much. We really appreciate your time, Bill, today, and thank you for being a guest of ours today. We appreciate it, and everyone enjoy the rest of their day.
Bye all.
Bye-bye.